After a good but late lunch in Casas Bajas, I set off up the mountain. I knew there was going to be a lot of climbing ahead of me, and it was going to take me a fair bit of time, and there was going to be a fair bit of hiker bike. As I started pretty late, I knew I wasn't going to make it very far, and I made it approximately 20 kilometers before I found a place to camp for the night. Start off the second day on section 7 of the trail. Camped here last night. Pretty nice spot. Done a lot of climbing basically since I left Casas Bajas. I've done about 20 kilometers from there after lunch yesterday. A lot of hiker bike for me, a little bit too steep for me to cycle, so it takes a fair amount of time, but it's been nice, some great views, a couple of nice downhill sections, and yeah, I had a nice night in the tent. I was afraid it was going to be a little bit cold, but it wasn't too bad. It was quite all right, and I'm just waiting for things to dry up a little bit. I'll pack them up and I'll get going again. After everything dried down, I got going, and there was a fair bit of more climbing, a lot more hiker bike, but I eventually got up onto the heights, and the road flattened out and I could do a bit of more riding. As I got higher up on the mountain, snow started appearing on the side of the road, and as I got higher, there was more and more. It was starting to get a bit cold and windy, but as we got higher up, the views were pretty great, and it was nice to stop and have a look around and just enjoy the scenery. I eventually reached the highest point, a little over 2,000 meters, and then I got stuck in the snow. I was following the trail, and it went a little bit off-road, and I probably should have taken the road instead, even though there was a lot of snow even on parts of the road. But in some sections the snow was so deep that I had to push the bike across, and I sank down to above my knees. Luckily, I was working so hard that I got pretty hot and sweaty anyway, and I didn't really feel cold, but it wasn't really what I was expecting on this section of Spain this late in April. Once I left the snow behind, I had a really nice ride down into the town of Teruel, a nice place to visit where I plan to spend a rest day to catch up some washing and get some sightseeing done. Cycling out of Teruel in the middle of stage 7 on the trail. If you're planning a half day or possibly a rest day, I think Teruel is a town I could really recommend. It was an interesting town, a lot of interesting stuff, to see there basically. It's looking pretty dreary, it's cloudy. There's rain forecast for the next 2 days, and there's also there have already been a few drops. I'm very tempted to wait out the rain, but I've had that many rain and rest days already that if I'm ever going to get anywhere on this trail, I'll just have to risk getting wet. Behind me is the bridge, the old railway line that led down to this intersection where you turn off into Tehran. So I've just got back onto the trail after the section into Tehran that you cycle in and then double back. But as I said, it's definitely worth going in there. Nice town, and I'm going to continue a lot of climbing, maybe not a lot, but there's some climbing at the beginning here now in the next 20 or 30 kilometers, but it doesn't look too steep, and I'll just have to get going and hope I don't get too wet. The second half of stage 7 proved to be a lot easier, and I enjoyed the riding, but took it easy, slowed down, had a licorice and water break every now and again, and just tried to enjoy the scenery and travelled along and enjoyed myself. The scenery really got spectacular on the last part of the ride into Aliaga, where the trail follows basically a canyon down through the canyon and along the river, and it follows the river all the way down into town. A brilliant ride that you just can't miss. I finished stage 7. And, I'm here at the campsite in Aliaga, and it's been raining most of the afternoon. I've been pretty lucky most of the day. I've been managing to stay out of the rain, but it started raining here this afternoon. So I decided to try my luck at the first pay campsite that I've been to. For the first time I'm not free camping or staying in hostels or hotels. There was nobody here, and I made a phone call and checked that it was okay to stay, and apparently there are some people turning up now, so we'll see what happens, if I get to pay or what happens. But I've had a warm shower. I've camped under this roof, and I'm more or less alone. It's been a pretty good day, reasonably easy day, a bit of climbing to start with, but after that it was a beautiful day, and it ended with a beautiful ride down through a canyon, and then a long trip down into Aliaga. So really, really nice ride. That finishes section 7. And section 7 has been a strange one. It's only a short section, what is it, 180, 190 kilometers or something. But the first half was really, really tough. It took a long time. I was stuck in snow, and there was a lot of climbing. And the second half has been reasonably easy, so a bit of both. And in the middle of it, there's a really nice town where you can stop, have a rest, have a half day or a full rest day, and enjoy the sights and enjoy some Spanish culture. I'm going to try to stay dry tonight, get an early start tomorrow, and see if I can possibly do a few kilometers tomorrow. Shouldn't be too hard. It's a bit of uphill to start with, but then there's a lot of downhill sections, so I hope I should be able to get some fair bit of mileage done tomorrow, as long as the weather doesn't get too bad. And if it gets too wet, I'm not sure what the track is going to be like. I hope there won't be too much peanut butter mud like there has been on some of the other sections. For now, I'm just going to relax, enjoy my cup of tea, and just try to get some rest.